They call it the world's most dangerous road. And honestly, that's not just a catchy nickname for the tourists. It's a warning, a dare, and a challenge all rolled into one. The Yungas Road in Bolivia is infamous for its dizzying heights, hairpin turns, and the kind of drop-offs that make your stomach do somersaults just by looking at them. Not the slightly inconvenient road, the one where you might get stuck behind a slow tractor or have to dodge the occasional pothole. Not the road where you might scuff your bumper, or the kind where your biggest worry is whether you'll spill your coffee over a speed bump. No, this is the heavyweight champion of bad ideas for a Sunday drive. The kind of road that makes even the bravest GPS units recalculate in fear. For reasons I still can't explain, I thought this was a fantastic vacation idea. Maybe it was the thrill of the unknown, or maybe I just wanted a story that would make my friends' jaws drop at dinner parties. I left my comfortable sofa and Wi-Fi behind, craving a near-death experience. There's something about the call of adventure that makes you forget how much you love your own bed and reliable internet. So there I was at the start of Bolivia's infamous Yungas Road, Death Road. The name alone should have been a warning, not an invitation. But there's a strange magnetism to places like this, a pull that's equal parts curiosity and sheer lunacy. But my brain, in its infinite wisdom, translated Death Road into Adventure Avenue. I convinced myself that this was the kind of experience that builds character, or at least a really good Instagram post. My rental car, a tiny, nervous-looking thing, was definitely not built for conquering mountains. It looked more suited for grocery runs than for flirting with gravity on a cliffside. The local guy just smiled, the kind of smile that says, "I've seen your kind before, you're the before" picture in a safety pamphlet. He handed me a helmet and wished me luck, which did nothing to calm my nerves. My plan was simple: survive. No enlightenment, no self-discovery, no spiritual awakening. Just get from point A to point B with all my limbs attached, and my dignity mostly intact. Just finish with all my limbs and a car that still resembled a car. I wasn't aiming for heroics, just basic survival. This wasn't about conquering nature. It was about proving I could operate a steering wheel and brake pedal under extreme duress. My only real competition was my own fear. The bar for heroism was low, but it was my bar, and I was determined to clear it, without plummeting into a ravine. Every twist in the road felt like a new test of my nerves. I took a deep breath, gripped the wheel and told myself, let's not make the evening news. I could already picture the headlines: tourist mistakes Death Road for amusement park ride. The adventure had begun, and I was already questioning my life choices. Why couldn't I have picked a beach vacation, or a city tour with reliable public transport? Sometimes the only way out is through. You can't turn back, not when the road is barely wide enough for one car and the drop-off is always lurking just outside your window. And sometimes, through is a one-lane dirt track with a 2,000-foot drop. Welcome to Death Road. Wish me luck. If I make it to the other side, I'll have a story worth telling. And maybe, just maybe, a new appreciation for flat, boring roads. Why do this? For the story, of course, for the bragging rights. I wanted to be that person at dinner who, when someone complains about traffic, can say, "Oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you about reversing on a cliff to let a chicken truck pass." It started with a travel blog photo of a bus teetering on a cliff. My brain whispered, I want to do that. Was it about personal growth? Maybe. But mostly, it was about the triumphant social media post at the end: #Death Road #Survivor #Never Again. Was it worth it? Ask me when my heart rate drops below 120. Picture this. A single lane of gravel, draped along a mountain, no guardrails, barely wide enough for one car. Yet somehow, it's a two-way street. The road surface is unpredictable. Packed dirt, then mud, then rocks that test your car's suspension and your will to live. On one side, a rock wall. On the other, nothing but a sheer drop and a lot of regret. The turns are hairpins so sharp you can see your own taillights. You crawl, honk, and pray there's not a bus barreling around the corner. Waterfalls pour directly onto the road because why not add a slip and slide to the mix? The weather? It changes every 5 minutes. Sun, then fog so thick you can barely see your hood. This road isn't just dangerous, it's actively trying to kill you. It's a 40-mile obstacle course designed by a creative sadist. Every mile is a new test of nerves. If you're not terrified, you're not paying attention. Welcome to the world's most scenic panic attack. The journey began. The air was crisp, the sky impossibly blue, and the mountains loomed ahead like ancient guardians. I felt a surge of excitement, a sense of adventure pulsing through my veins as the car engine hummed beneath me. For 30 seconds, I felt confident. I was the master of my fate, the captain of my destiny, and the road was mine to conquer. The world seemed full of possibility. Then came the first real corner, and the world fell away. The road twisted sharply and suddenly the illusion of control vanished. The road narrowed to a glorified sidewalk with a 2,000-foot drop inches from my window. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it over the engine. My internal monologue became a high-pitched scream. Every rational thought was replaced by pure, unfiltered panic. My hands locked on the wheel, my body rigid. I was a statue, frozen by fear, every muscle tensed as if bracing for impact. There was no turning back. The road behind me was just as treacherous as the one ahead, and reversing was not an option. The only way out was forward. Each inch felt like a leap of faith, a test of courage I wasn't sure I'd pass. My speed dropped to a crawl. I was barely moving, but my mind was racing at 100 miles an hour. A glacier could have overtaken me. I imagined ancient ice creeping past, mocking my snail's pace. Every pebble felt like a boulder. Each tiny rock threatened to send me careening into the abyss. Every bump sent a jolt of panic. The car shuddered, and so did I, convinced that disaster lurked in every pothole. I honked constantly, not so much to warn others, but as a continuous cry for help. The horn was my only companion, echoing my anxiety into the void. The car was filled with the crunch of gravel, the squeak of suspension, and my own heavy breathing. Every sound was amplified, every vibration a reminder of the peril outside. I tried to be brave, but my body was busy producing enough sweat to fill a pool. My shirt clung to me, my palms slick on the wheel. 10 minutes in, I'd aged a decade and covered a few hundred yards. Time stretched, warped by fear, every second an eternity. The fear was real, the adrenaline relentless. My senses were on high alert, every nerve ending tingling with anticipation. I was a bold adventurer in theory, a terrified mess in practice. The gap between my imagination and reality had never felt wider. Every second was a victory. Each moment I stayed on the road felt like a small miracle, a triumph over my own doubts. Every corner, a new negotiation with gravity. The car and I were locked in a delicate dance, teetering on the edge of disaster. I just wanted to make it to the next straightaway. That brief stretch of safety was my only goal, my beacon in the chaos, and maybe someday, to the end. The finish line felt impossibly far, a distant dream shrouded in mist and fear, but mostly, I just wanted to survive. In that moment, survival was the only adventure that mattered. You'd think the world's most dangerous road would be empty, a lonely ribbon of asphalt winding through the mountains. But you'd be wrong, spectacularly wrong. This notorious stretch is actually a lifeline for locals. Every day, trucks loaded with goods, buses packed with passengers, and cars of all shapes and sizes jostle for space, all in a hurry to get somewhere. The road is alive with the constant hum of engines and the blaring of horns echoing off the cliffs. Local drivers, unfazed by the dizzying drops and hairpin turns, treat it like any other commute. They overtake on blind corners with a confidence that borders on reckless, weaving between vehicles with nerves of steel and a sixth sense for danger. There's a rule here: downhill traffic yields to uphill. It's a simple guideline, but on these steep, narrow passes, it's a matter of survival. Of course, that's easier said than done. Imagine reversing your car on a muddy ledge, tires inches from the abyss just to let a lumbering bus squeeze by. Your heart pounds as you inch backward, praying the mud holds. Meanwhile, the bus driver looks almost bored, as if this is just another Tuesday. For them, it probably is. You, on the other hand, are gripping your seat so tightly your knuckles turn white, trying not to hyperventilate as the drop yawns beside you. And just when you think you've seen it all, a pack of mountain bikers comes flying down the road in neon gear, whooping with joy as they race the wind, utterly fearless. You watch them zoom past your window, your heart in your throat, wondering if you'll ever be that brave, or that crazy. You hug the rock wall, praying you don't accidentally open your door and send a cyclist to their doom. And then, as if the chaos wasn't enough, there are the llamas. Herds of llamas, fluffy and unbothered, stand stubbornly in the middle of the road, refusing to move for anyone or anything, not even a honking bus. So you wait. The llama stares back, chewing thoughtfully as if weighing your worthiness to pass. Minutes tick by. You sigh, resigned. This is your life now. Stuck between a cliff, a bus, and a llama with attitude. Adventure, it turns out, comes in many forms. Sometimes it's a white-knuckle bike ride, sometimes it's a traffic jam in the clouds, and sometimes it's a fluffy camelid bringing the world's most dangerous road to a standstill. You wanted thrills, you got them, just not the kind you expected. Along the way, you gain a newfound respect for the patience of bus drivers and the stubbornness of llamas, both masters of this mountain domain. Welcome to Rush Hour, Death Road style, where every journey is an adventure and every traffic jam is a story worth telling. I'm told the views from Youngest Road are breathtaking. Lush mountains, clouds below, waterfalls in the distance. I caught glimpses, but mostly my eyes were glued to the gravel in front of my tires. It's hard to appreciate beauty when you're trying not to become part of the scenery. I stopped at a viewpoint, stepped out, and was hit by vertigo, so strong I had to grab the car for support. I took one shaky photo and got back in. Did I experience the legendary beauty? Sort of like running through a museum while being chased by a bear. I have blurry photos and terror-tinged memories. If you want to enjoy the views, try a documentary, or Google Images. The road's beauty is a trap, a siren's call luring you to your doom. Don't fall for it. Still want to drive Death Road? Here's my hard-won advice. Tip 1. Bring extra underwear, more than you think you'll need. Trust me. Tip 2. Love your horn. Honk at every blind corner, every suspicious cloud, every victory. There's no such thing as too much honking. Tip 3. Snacks aren't for eating, they're for bribery. Lure llamas, thank helpful truckers, or just comfort yourself. Tip 4. Abandon all hope of looking cool. You'll be sweaty, pale, and terrified. Accept it. There's no dignity on Death Road, only survival. The mountain doesn't care about your Instagram aesthetic. Let go of your ego, embrace the fear, and focus on making it to the other side. The cool photos can wait for a safe parking lot. Remember, survival is the only real souvenir, and if you make it, you'll have a story no one can top. That's worth more than any selfie. So pack your courage, and your snacks, and maybe reconsider your life choices. Good luck. After what felt like a lifetime, I saw it. Smooth, glorious asphalt. The end of gravel, cliffs, and terror. Civilization, painted lines, guardrails. I nearly wept with joy. I pulled over, turned off the engine, and knelt to kiss the tarmac. It tasted like oil and dirt and pure relief. A passing driver stared. I didn't care. I had survived. I'd faced Death Road and lived to tell the tale. I was proud, exhausted, and incredibly grateful for my car, my brakes, and my extra underwear. I came for a story, and I got one fear, stupidity, and the joy of not plummeting to my doom. Would I do it again? Never. But I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. I'm back. I've showered, slept, and processed the trauma into a personality trait. I am now a survivor, self-declared expert in danger. Got questions about adventure? I have answers. Mostly sarcastic, but answers. The key to any great adventure is a healthy dose of delusion. Safety regulations, suggestions, guardrails, they just block the view. Warning signs for other people. So go forth, seek questionable tourist attractions, and collect stories that start with, "This was probably a bad idea, but..." Life is about the experiences, and the ridiculous stories you get to tell. And if you ever find yourself on a narrow road with a 2,000-foot drop, just honk, grip the wheel, and remember, whatever you do, don't look down. Or do. What do I know? I'm just the guy who thought Death Road was a good idea.